What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Duels Down Under. This is the first deck profile of 2021. I hope you are having a ripper of a January. I'm sure if you are in Brisbane, you have heard the news and you have been locked down for the next 3 days. That gives you plenty of time to put this deck together, to buy some new cards using my TCG player link in the description down below, supporting the channel and not costing you any more money than you would already be spending. I don't want to keep you guys waiting any longer. Let's crack into the deck profile. I'm going to go through the main and the extra deck for you guys today. If you want to know what I'm running in my side deck and a few of the tech options that you might like to pick up this format, you will have to be subscribed to my Patreon to be able to access that part of the video. But there should be enough in here to wet your whistle, to keep your appetite suppressed until you get back into your card stores to sling around some cardboard. I've been really impressed with the way this deck has been testing. I didn't come up with this all by myself. I have to give a big thank you to DeMarco from DXM Collectibles. The X does stand for extra because that is how amazing DeMarco is. We're going to get cracking into this deck. We are running the single and the only allowed copy of a Zoodiac Rat Pierre. This guy lets you dump a Zoodiac monster or card from your deck to the graveyard. Really good to get that Ram in there nice and early. As well as that, we are playing our second best starter card, if not the best starter card, Zoodiac Thoroughblade. Great to see this guy worth a little bit of money now as well. Hopefully, maybe one day in the future, we will see an ultimate rare printing of this card in an upcoming OTS pack. To keep that Zoodiac engine burning, we are running 3 Zoodiac Whiptail. I know, guys, just running this super rares here, I don't actually own the ultimate rare copies. If you do have any for sale, or you are going to try and pick any up, make sure you use that TCG player link in the description. We're also running 3 of probably the most important card, and that is the Zoodiac Ram. This is the guy that gives us all of that extra awesomeness from the graveyard. Finally, our last Zoodiac monster is a single copy of Zoodiac Bunny Blast. I think all in all we are running, I want to say 11 Zoodiac monsters. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think it is 3 3s and 2 2s, which makes 11 if you like that quick maths right there. Next is the hand traps. We're playing a fairly versatile build, guys. We can go first or second with this build, and that's what I like about this deck so much. There's heaps of room in the side deck for you to make those changes for each individual matchup, because we have such a good going first and going second main deck build anyway. So of course we're running our 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. What can you say about this card? This card is just the most versatile hand trap in the game. It is always going to be utilized in meta, and yeah, until it gets hit on the Forbidden and Limited list, it's going to be in every deck, whether it's main or side. We're going to see it everywhere we go. We're running triple copies of Skullmeister. Now, obviously, the tech choice for this one may also be Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion, but it's a once per turn card. This one, you can do it as often as you like. So this guy here is making an appearance in the main deck, and so far through testing, because so many decks rely on that graveyard, I am really impressed with how it is testing. Running 2 copies of Alpha, the Master of Beasts. Didn't want to run the 3rd because it does have a once per turn clause. And we are running the single copy of Dino Wrestler Pancratops. Again, not much needs to be said about that. It is a 2600 monster. When your opponent controls a monster and you do not, is a free special summon to your side of the board. Absolute weapon of a card. The Alpha will also help get over those Dragoons if you are going second. So that's pretty much our going second package right there. For spell cards, we are running a single copy of Zoodiac Barrage, letting you do all of that destroying to give yourself a little bit of advantage. Definitely a good card, and I know why it's only at 1 of, and the more I test, the more I realise that this card would be great to have back at multiples, but I don't know if it ever can come back. The Searcher of the deck, we are playing Fire Formation Tenki, another really strong card. We're not seeing we're not seeing Ghost Ogre in the format, so getting that search off is quite easy. We do come up against the Ash Blossom every now and again, but it is always get aroundable there. We're playing 3 Pots of Desires to increase that draw power. What we'd normally do is we would try and get our Zoodiac engine up and running first, and then we use our desires to try and draw into some hand traps later on in the game to try and really support our first turn boards. We might only be able to go into a Dryden with a couple of materials, but if we've got a couple of hand traps and some trap cards that you'll see later on in the profile, we're usually sitting in a fairly decent position to either defend our board or try and stop our opponent from destroying us. To go with those Pots of Desires, we are playing a single copy of Pot of Avarice, being able to recycle the Dryden from the graveyard back to the extra deck and give us a couple of draws is really, really important. On the defense now, we need to be running some back row removal, like by way of Cosmic Cyclone, being able to pay 1,000 life points and banish one of those annoying Eldritch trap cards is pretty good. And we're also running a copy of Harpy's Feather Duster in the main deck as well. That mass removal card, that is really going to give us some advantage and blow our opponent out is pretty valuable. Also a single copy of Called by the Grave. If we do see that, that is going to just be a little bit of a bonus to try and get around those Ash Blossoms or any of those other hand traps that are going to pose some kind of disruption to our board. Adding to our hand trap lineup, we do have Infinite Impermanence. I do consider this to be a trap card, even though it is used as a hand trap a lot of the time. It can be used going first and going second, so it is just such a utility card to have in a deck. I think out of all of the cards that I probably would change out for something else, these guys could be it. And if you are subscribed to the Patreon, you will be able to see some of the options that I would tech in instead of this Infinite Impermanence moving forward. This card, if you see multiples of it, it's great, but sometimes just seeing one Impermanence isn't enough to stop your opponent, considering Virtual World, a lot of it activates in the hand, so they're going to be able to just keep playing on and on and on, no matter how many Imperms you have in your hand. We have a copy of Zoodiac Combo, again to do that recycling, a bit of draw power, so that is pretty cool as well. We are running double copy of Ice Dragon's Prison. This card is by far currently the best trap card in the game right now. Being able to remove a card from your opponent's graveyard and from their side of the field is pretty special. Finally, guys, to round off the 40, we are running 2 copies of Solemn Strike. Definitely the best Solemn in the game right now, being able to negate those monster effects as well as the special summons. It really does give you an opportunity to try and get back into the game if you've had these set later on. And 1,500 life points, that doesn't really mean too much at all in today's game. That is the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. Just before we get into it, guys, remember that if you want to see what my choices for the side deck are in this upcoming format, you will need to be a subscriber for the Patreon. So please feel free to head over there, join. I think there's only one tier over there at the moment, so please feel free to do that. If you don't want to join the Patreon, because it is a monthly cost, feel free to use the link down below and buy me a coffee. I think all Yu-Gi-Oh players really love their coffee. We are so hyped up on caffeine a lot of the time that, coffee is the one thing that gets us through the day. So please feel free to hit that buy me a coffee link in the description. Again, that will help support my alertness, my ability to create videos, and of course the quality of videos that are upcoming on the channel. So we have a heap of XYZ monsters, as you would expect in this deck. We're running 3 copies of Zoodiac Tiger Mortar. I talked to DeMarco very closely about this choice, and we basically came to the conclusion that Zoodiac Tiger Mortar is probably the card that's going to get us the most valuable recurrence. By reattaching those materials, we're able to just keep looping those different effects. We can keep adding materials to a Dryden that's already on the field, or we can add materials to a Borbo to try and give them a little bit of attack, so they can actually attack directly should we need it to. we're running double copies of Zoodiac Borbo. Again, this is the card that will help us go into Zeus. Really good with that ability to attack your opponent's life points directly. Even with a tanky face up on the field for that 100, that's enough to do some damage. Therefore, you can go into that Divine Arsenal Zeus. We're only running 2 copies of Chuckanine. I was initially going to run 3 Chuckanine, 2 Tiger Mortar, but DeMarco did actually talk me out of it. Chuckanine is really good, but we are running the Zoodiac combo as well as the Pot of Avarice to try and get those monsters back into our extra deck should we need to reuse those Chuckanine effects later on. Running a single copy of Hammer Kong and a single copy of Zoodiac Dryden, getting that pop in, also helping our combos go off to get that first turn Infinitrack Megaclops out. 2 copies of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. Really good card, being able to quick play board wipe. That is pretty special and really something that shouldn't be slept on. Finally, to give us that little bit of extra damage, we are going to run a Drill Driver Vesperado. Most of our XYZ monsters are rank 4s, so using this on top of a rank 4 is pretty easy to do. Finally, we are running 3 and only 3 link monsters. We have the Infinitrack Megaclops, the Access Code Talker, and of course Usa, the Earth Charmer Immovable. I think these are pretty straightforward in this deck. Access Code being able to give it a bit of a boost up with the effect of Usa, being able to target that to give it an extra 2k, or if we can target that Megaclops to maybe give it an extra 3k, and we can hopefully get in for some pretty savage damage to end those late duels. That is the main deck and the extra deck for you guys. Like I said, for you guys on YouTube, I am going to stop the video there. I want to say a massive thank you for staying around this long and listening to this. If you are subscribed to the Patreon, you will have access to the rest of the video. That will be in a separate video, but it'll be private. You'll get the link for that in the Patreon when you go, and that's going to have all of the side deck information in there. So for now, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next deck profile. If you do want to see some combos for this deck, let's get this video to say 50 likes, and I will work on some simple combos for you guys to be able to practice at home as well. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.